Hello, everybody. So sorry for the delay. We were having some technical issues, but we have solved them. So I appreciate everyone's patience, and so we are going to jump right into this so that we make sure that we're being respectful of our guest time and all of you out there in Google Land who are watching this. This is Carmen Rojas. I am the owner and founder of Rojas Consulting Group. I am here with my good friend, Mr. Robert Dunbar, who is an executive director with Legal Shield. And today's topic, we're going to be talking all about, multi-level marketing. And we want to talk about what it is, why is it working for some people, and more importantly, what can those of us who are doing traditional style businesses learn from the multi-level system that we can then apply to our own businesses and be successful there. So, without further ado, I'm going to ask Mr. Dunbar here to just tell us about himself, tell us your story a little bit, and then as soon as we get the comment tracker up and running, we're going to be answering questions and going with it. So, Robert, you are up. Tell us about yourself.
Just real quickly, I've been self-employed for about 9 years, and I found network marketing about 5.5 years ago. I had previously done some housing, real estate, a tax office, a Janet King janitorial service. So I had a couple of franchises at one time. So I've done everything from real estate work in the self-employment realm, and then I was able to find network marketing because I first purchased a product that Legal Shield offers, and then about a year later, after I used the product, I was introduced to the opportunity to do network marketing, which I thought was a pyramid scheme and a scam and all the other things that we hear so much about before we really find out what network marketing or multi-level marketing is. So that's kind of my story. I've been pretty successful. This is the first network marketing company I've been in. I've learned a lot, did a lot of training, and I have a lot of great mentors that's been in for almost 20 years. So that's who I work with, and that's who's got me to the point that I am now with the company Legal Shield.
Ah, okay. And I hear that we have a little bit of feedback in the room. I don't know what's going on there, but let's work through it and see. But anyways, so you were saying that there's, let's start with kind of the misconceptions of multi-level marketing. What is it, and what is it not?
Well, what it is an opportunity to create leverage by starting a business at a very inexpensive cost, one, as opposed to opening up a traditional business, and also it gives you the opportunity to leverage yourself by not only creating efforts by you going out and marketing whatever the company that you work for does market or the service that they offer, but allows you to introduce people into the company who can then produce the same income or more that you're doing, but it will also allow you to leverage yourself as a insurance company or a real estate office has a license hanging on the wall, and they get realtors that come in and market real estate, and then they get a commission. That's the same thing we do. We get a commission and an override based on what other people do. So that's kind of what network marketing is. It's a simpler way to start your own business. It's less cost to start your own business. There's you can do less work than owning your own business. You don't have to deal with the hiring and firing of people and opening up office space and all the other things that come along with a traditional business. So that's kind of what network marketing is. It's like Paul J. Myers said, he'd rather earn 1% off 100 people's efforts than earn 100% off of his own efforts. And that's kind of what network marketing allows you to do. Now, what it's not is it's not a pyramid scheme. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Many network marketing companies that offer you the ability to make, $500,000 in 2 months is probably something that you should be running from. Look at the company, see what they offer, how long they've been in business, talk to some people who are marketing the service, and get the good and the bad. Listen to both sides of the stories to find out whether it's because they do have pyramid scheme and cherry picking opportunities that match themselves as. So make sure that you are truly in a network marketing company, marketing company, to prove and make sure that they are in the nation, which is DSA, because that makes sure that they are doing certain things that DSA is sure that they are network marketing companies and not a scam or pyramid scheme and all different.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is to definitely make sure you do your homework before you join one. You said the DSA as D is in dog, S is in Sam, A is in alphabet is where they need to double check if they're being asked to join one. Are you there? I think he froze up a little bit. Well, we're going to keep talking, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of fix Robert here. We have had a few technical difficulties today, but I know that. Are you there, Robert?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
So I'm sorry. Did you say DSA? D as in dog. SA.
Yes. Let's try that.
Okay. No worries. No worries. And let me tell just a little while you're trying to do that, what my story is with you. Robert was recommended to me when I got started with one of my first businesses because when I was doing personal training, and I definitely recognized the need for legal assistance. And personal training is a very litigious business and industry to be in, so I wanted to make sure that I had the necessary legal assistance, and I always thought that it was too expensive, to hire an attorney, to be reviewing my contracts and all of that fun stuff. It just sounded like it was too expensive. So through a mutual friend of ours, Robert was recommended to me, and and I just really appreciate, and I'll testify for Robert briefly, that he got involved. Not only did I, enjoy the product and the service that he had, but he was just such a great person that he was able to advise me and became, definitely a mentor as I started my entrepreneurial process and, and strategizing the business and how it would eventually be offered. And, when I had decisions to make and new ideas that came and went, Robert was willing to jump in with both feet and give me some advice, which I found to be absolutely invaluable. So, I don't want people to think that he's here to pitch anybody into network marketing, but I certainly appreciate that he's able to dispel some myths about it. And I know that I, took the opportunity to go to one of his meetings, and I wrote a blog this week about it that was posted earlier in the room, in the comments. So if you go back through and read that, it talks a lot about that meeting that I went to and just explain some of the things that I took out of it. And I would definitely recommend to any person that is considering starting a business or, there he is, or is wanting to figure out how to do marketing better, find an MLM person that would be willing to let you tag along. And now that Robert's back, I'm going to let him speak to that now. Robert, I posted a blog earlier this week about one of the meetings that I went to that you were the speaker at. And, there were three things that I picked up well, not all of them because I didn't want to share all your secrets. But three of the things that I picked up on were your ability to speak to pain points of the people in the room, even though you didn't know all of the people in the room. So can you talk to that as to how, some of that might be your skills, some of that might be just what you've learned through multi-level marketing, but, speak to that and how that works for you.
Oh, well, for years, because everything I've ever done as far as business has been a service-oriented business. I've never marketed any products. And what I've learned is that you have to market things to people through emotion. Giving people bullet points and explaining what everything does really just puts people to sleep. If you tell them to call it, give them the disease and give them the cure. That's what I call that method. Whereas you let them know that they have a sickness before you give them the cure. And if you can just imagine yourself walking through the mall with your family, you and your husband and your kids, or if there's a men on the line, you and your wife and the kids walking through the mall, and somebody walks up to you with a briefcase and they try to shoot you in the arm with a needle saying that they're giving you a cure for a sickness that you don't know you have. Well, that's probably going to turn into a problem. But if that person explains to you what it is that's been going around, that some people came here from out of town or from another country and they passed along some illness that's very contagious, and that the CDC is giving out this shot to keep your family from catching that fatal illness, then you will allow them to shoot that needle into your arm and your family's arm to keep you alive. And that's the same thing we do when we're marketing a service or offering an opportunity to create extra income. Well, the problem is some people don't realize just how broke they are or just how behind on life they are. They have goals, they set dreams, and they never reach them because they're falling into that rat race of having a 9-to-5 and just making enough money to pay their bills, or actually running out of money before they run out of month. So we kind of touch on those emotional issues by saying, hey, look, aren't you tired of running out of money before you run out of month? Or aren't you tired of not telling your kids no, or not putting them in the best schools, different things of that nature? So that's why we touch on emotion as opposed to trying to just sell somebody an opportunity or a product or service.
And I definitely think that that's a key part of good marketing in general. You know, whether you're talking MLM or, you know, marketing anything, you know, being able to correctly identify and hone in on somebody's pain points and give them a solution. You know, not just to stand there and talk. You know, they always talk about, thank you for describing my jail cell. Now tell me how to get out of it.
Right.
You know. So I really think that you do a really, really good job of that. Now, the second thing that I mentioned in the blog that I wrote about was that you knew your product. I said frontwards, backwards, and sideways. And so, if you speak to that point, how does that help you?
I can tell you training, and don't get it out of order. I take as much training, product training. We have something that we call advanced product training, and I do that often. And then I actually do some of the trainings in northeastern Florida. So I'm constantly reminding myself of the service. Whether you're offering a service or a product, if you don't know your product and your service, you don't know how to inoculate yourself from things that you will hear when people say, I don't need this, I don't need that. I don't want to be involved in any other opportunity. I don't want a pyramid scheme. All those different things that we hear. If you don't understand how to get around those issues and really be able to help people, I guess you have to put yourself in a mindset of that you're really helping the person. It's like the waiter in a restaurant that says, would you like another glass of water? And you say no. Well, it doesn't affect the waiter that you say no, because they're really giving you the water for you. It's not helping them. They're not getting a bigger tip. They're not making anything off the water. They're offering you the water because they're concerned about whether you're still thirsty. And it's the same thing with our opportunity, our service, whatever company that you're working with. You're approaching people because you're attempting to help them. And if you keep that in mind, when they tell you no, it won't affect you because you're really helping them. So you have to really learn the product, because if a person is not getting a proper presentation, then that's probably why they're not seeing the value in what you offer. So you really have to spend time doing your presentation in the mirror, looking at the definition listing of whatever it is that you offer, and really taking time to understand the product and the service and how it works and how it doesn't work. And lastly, make sure that you undersell and over deliver. You don't want to tell people that it does more than what it does, and then they get disappointed. Don't tell them everything. Tell them major points, but don't tell them all the little things, because you want to be able to later on, they say, well, I didn't know I can use this for that. And then they're now excited because you kind of undersold them and over delivered. And that's probably the best way to approach marketing, whatever it is that you're going to offer.
Right. Now, I wanted to bring in a comment real quick from the room from a Christine L. Brown, who I believe is also doing some network marketing. And she says, principles are the same across the board, be it traditional or MLM, seek to serve rather than sell. And I definitely would agree with that concept. You know, a lot of what we're talking about is not unique to MLM necessarily. It's unique to good marketing. It's unique to good sales. And I think that what we're talking about, particularly some of the things that I mentioned in the blog, you know, are good carryovers between the two. And what is it, Robert, that you think allows MLMs to be so successful with that lower entry point, say, than the more traditional entrepreneurial things?
Well, one, because you're working from home for the most part, or from your vehicle or whatever. You know, I use Regis virtual offices. I use my home, so it doesn't cost you as much to get involved. These companies, they're using what these companies do um, to be able to lower the cost is really simple. If anybody understands marketing, you have to do TV commercials, magazine articles, all the different things that go into getting the word out that you offer a product or a service. Well, when you're in a network marketing company, they normally X that marketing because they have you to market. Most of these companies, like a Mary Kay or an Avon or a Legal Shield, they don't run as many commercials as you would see. Let's take a commercial like LifeLock. LifeLock is commercialized. It's an identity theft product that's commercialized, and most of their money goes towards them putting commercials, running commercials on air, and that's where their money goes from, as far as marketing. Well, with a company like Legal Shield or Mary Kay or Avon, what they're doing is they're putting that money into paying commissions out to sales associates who are marketing it through setting up vendor booths at places, through buying their own magazine articles out of their own pocket, things like that. So the company is being marketed through those hundreds of thousands of sales associates that are in the field. That's why those companies can allow you to come in at such a low cost, because they don't have as much overhead, because they have a building, they have employees, but for the most part, all of the marketing is being done through the independent sales associates. So that's why you can get into a company for $500 or less, as opposed to spending $20,000 opening up a business. I've never opened up a business for less than $20,000. And with network marketing, I was able to join this company for $249 and get a license for $167 and start my business. So for less than $500, I was able to get myself rolling with this company, as opposed to $20,000 with a traditional business.
Yeah, and I would agree that there's definitely those startup costs for businesses can be a real problem for people as to why they don't get in, why they're not successful. That $20,000 that you talk about can very quickly get much higher than that. And I think that the low financial cost of entry is definitely a good thing. And here's another point, just to create a difference, is a lot of those that brand is already set up. Legal Shield is still new, for example. There's still lots and lots and lots of people who've never heard of it, but the minute you find somebody that's heard of it, they get it. They can instantly connect and make a good presentation. If you have to start from ground zero with your brand, which is a lot of the work that we do with entrepreneurs, is helping them start out at that 0 point where there are no followers, there is no brand, that takes time to develop. So when we talk about, with entrepreneurs, about how fast can you turn over money, it takes longer because there is no brand to start out with. So, and I know that Legal Shield in particular has kind of been through a couple of brand shifts, correct?
Yes, originally Legal Shield was prepaid legal for about 38 years, and then it switched over to Legal Shield, which has really helped because we had, like any big corporation, they had some things going on that needed to be corrected, and when a bigger buyer came in and bought it as an investment group out in New York, they were able to come in and correct some things and kind of shake some things up and create new branding and new marketing. And as you well know, because you're in business, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all of these companies, every now and then they tweak their logo a little bit or add a tagline because they have to refresh. And that's what Prepaid Legal did. When it was turned into Legal Shield, it refreshed. They added some things to the plan. They changed some costs to things to make people more comfortable and made it a lot more customer friendly, which really has helped us in the field a lot.
That's good. So give us some more, as somebody who's done both, the MLM style and the traditional entrepreneurial things, what is something that you knew when you got started with the traditional businesses that you learned only after doing an MLM?
What did I learn that I didn't know from traditional business? I think it changes your idea of leadership. I do a lot of leadership training. I would say one of the main things is that when you're in a multi-level marketing company versus the corporate world or owning your own business, with however you look at it, is there's a voluntary army here in multi-level marketing, because people can leave your organization, they can not listen to you. They're running their own business. Well, when you're in the corporate world and you're a manager or you own the business and you're paying people, the leverage is that if they don't listen to you, you won't give them a check. You can fire them. And in this business, in multi-level marketing, you really have to be persuasive. You have to lead by example, because if you don't, people won't follow your footsteps, right or wrong. Things duplicate in multi-level marketing, bad and good. So if you do things the wrong way, it'll duplicate the wrong way. If you do things the right way, then your business will grow in cities and states where you've never been, simply because you're doing what the system has you to do. And what I would say about the corporate world and about owning a business is that you have management. Management kind of sticks with status quo. With network marketing, you plug people into a system, and you let the system kind of carry them down the river. It's like dragging somebody along the side of the river versus pushing people in the water and letting the stream take them down, and you guys all getting at the end goal together. And that's what I've learned when I've come over to network marketing and multi-level marketing, was that, you know, I had no influence over people because I was holding their check in my hand. Either I did the right thing and trained them the correct way and was able to learn how to lead them in a way that they would understand that it was beneficial for them to follow my leadership, or they were going to kind of fall off of the wagon, if that makes sense.
Sure, and that actually kind of ties in nicely. You know, the last point in the blog that I wrote was that with multi-level marketing, there's a very strict reliance on systems and strategies. Somebody, you know, along the way, higher up at the beginning of Legal Shield or whatever it is, has figured it out. They figured out how to do it, and they've patented it and, you know, kind of honed it into a way. They scaled it so that thousands of people can take that system, like you said, that river, and make it work for them. And I think one thing that I've noticed about people that are successful in whichever multi-level marketing vertical they're in, they stick to the system. They're not trying to recreate things. They're not trying to make it their own or, you know, spin it some kind of way to make it work for them. They stick to the system. They stick to the script. They do what they're being told to do, what the company and the higher ups are saying, you know, and it works. Would you agree with that or disagree?
I would agree with you 110%. A person that wants to be successful in any network marketing company or multi-level marketing company and have the time and freedom that company says that they can have, they definitely have to do the system, even if it doesn't seem like it's going to work. You have to have faith in that system. And what I mean by that is that because it works doesn't mean it's duplicatable. I explain that in the trainings that I do all the time. I had an associate at one time open up a kiosk in a mall. And started marketing his Legal Shield identity theft service through the mall. Well, he was very successful doing that. The problem is anybody that he brought into the business that didn't have the money to open up a kiosk in a mall felt like it wouldn't work for them, and they walked away from the business. So did it make him money? It made him money, but the ultimate goal of leveraging income and really being able to retire, being able to travel around the country or outside the country, being able to deal with sick family member, be out of town or visiting your kid's college for 2 weeks at a time and still being able to make a significant income, you have to plug people into a system. There is no other way in network marketing or multi-level marketing to really get the time freedom that they say that you can get. Money, yes, you can make money by creating your own system in a network marketing company, but you won't get the time freedom and the leverage income that you're looking for when you join a multi-level marketing company if you don't plug people into whatever system that the training has in place for that company.
And that's a really good point, because I think, and I've said it on this show and on other HOAs too, that the actual value in a business is in its systems and strategies. You know, if you are a solopreneur and everything is up here in your head and you change on the fly all the time, then your business really, the value is you. If you're not working, if you're not there, you know, if you're not plugged in, then there's no money being made. The business is not moving anywhere. So, you know, having systems like the one set up in MLM actually make businesses more profitable, because they're able, that's the river, that's the system that moves people down the stream and keeps money rolling in the front door. So I wanted to, we are at the halfway through the show point, so just to remind everybody, you are watching the Camel Jacket Chat with Carmen Rojas from Rojas Consulting and Mr. Robert Dunbar. Here on Google Plus. Lynn Abate Johnson has a comment here that I wanted to share, and I know she said she's kind of going back and forth between HOAs, but she's saying that she's been in the same MLM since 1980. So we're talking, let's not date her, but it's been a while. And she's still making bacon, girl. I'm proud of you. So you keep doing it. And here's something that that I would ask Robert to comment on, is that, for Miss Lynn, who's obviously found something to work for her and it's successful, it's still working 20 years later. Let's talk about that. How do you see MLMs, retaining people and retaining relevancy as they move forward, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years from now?
I think that's perfect. That comment came in. It came in at the right time. Congratulations, Miss Lynn, for sticking and staying, because that's what network marketing and multi-level marketing is all about. Not about jumping from company to company every time a new groundbreaking MLM starts. If you stick and stay in a good company, because I can't tell you every company is good, so I don't know what company you're in. But if you're in a good company, like I'm in a company that pays residual income. So it makes sense for me to stick around for 20 years because they're paying me for work that I've done 20 years ago. So when a person walks up to me and say, well, let me ask you a personal question. How much money did you make the first 12 months on Legal Shield? You know what I tell them? I said, well, really, I can't answer that question because I'm still being paid from the work I did the first 12 months. Because multi-level marketing allows you to continue to be paid over and over again depending on the company that you're with, even if it's a Mary Kay that doesn't do residual income. What happens is you create a book of business. So if you're a relationship builder and you sell Mary Kay, well, once you sold somebody a good set of products and they continue to use them, they're going to call you for reorders, and they're going to
And we lost Robert for just a second. I apologize, folks. I know that we've had a few technical issues with keeping the feed going, but let me, while we're trying to get Robert back on, let me jump over to a quick comment in the room that I won't bring up on screen, but I just wanted to add a point. I don't think that there is one business for everybody. Not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody is meant to do MLM. It doesn't work for everybody. Personally, I do not sell MLM. I value the process of it and the fact that it is working, and it is a system, and it is a business structure that is working for some people. And so if there's something that I can learn from that and apply to my own business, then I'm all for it. So if MLM is not for you, that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. What I would encourage people to do is, remain open to what you can learn from MLM and other business structures all around you. The traditional business system, the traditional business model is changing. If you're not open to all that is out there in terms of strategies and systems and all of that and different ways of doing business, then you'll always do business the old way. And that's not going to work. They say if you're not growing, you're dying. So, for the person in the room that made the comment that they're just not getting it, MLM just isn't for them, that's okay. That's really okay. And we certainly wish you the best of that. And there's a lot of really good comments coming in over here. Pure Romance by Tanya Rufus says, the good thing about MLMs is you don't have to recreate the wheel. Everything is already out there for your use. And that's absolutely true. We had Miss Christine also posted the acronym for SYSTEM: Save Yourself, Stress, Time, Energy, and Money. I'd never seen that one before, but I love that. I'm going to let you know now, Christine Bowen, or if I'm butchering that, but I'm stealing that. I'm just going to let you know that I'm going to steal that. And, we may have to do a joint blog or something about that because I love that acronym. That's just awesome. And, again, to those that aren't quite sure about, MLM and have their concerns about it, this whole system concept is huge. The thing about, that I remember reading and hearing is, McDonald's is a ginormous company, one of the largest in the world. But the thing about it is that the product that they produce is not that great. I mean, who's had a better hamburger than you can get at McDonald's? Who's made a better hamburger than you can get at McDonald's? I think we all have. But the thing is that you can go to a McDonald's and get the exact same thing every McDonald's you go to, and it's the same hamburger, the same fries, the same drink, whatever. It's the same, and they do that by systems, and that's how they made themselves so profitable. Is not because they have this, hamburger that you got to drive halfway around the world to get. It's the same system. It's the consistency. And so, that's really where systems and all of that come into place. And I think that's a large reason why multi-level marketing works. And as Robert was saying, and I'll let him finish his comment. I'm sorry, we lost you for a second there. About the ability to use systems, and that's one of the keys to longevity in multi-level marketing. Is that kind of where we were going with that?
Yeah, I think that a person that sticks and stays in a network marketing company or MLM, a strong company, a good vehicle, will see the fruits of their labor. They don't have to worry about being fired, and it will produce if you actually work it. I tell people during training, if you work a multi-level marketing company or a network marketing company like a job, it'll pay you like a business. If you work it like a hobby, it'll cost you like a hobby. So, for the people who feel like it's not something that's for them, everything is not for everybody, and we can be sure about that. For me, the 9-to-5 world is not for me. It's not that there's something wrong with the 9-to-5 world. It's I don't fit in it well. So I had to choose to do something different. So it's not that it's not going to be for everybody. But what I would tell you to ask yourself to make sure that it's not for you. Don't tell yourself that it's not for you when really it is. Ask yourself these questions. What are you going to do upon retirement? What are you going to do when you get 62, 65 years old and you're not working any longer or you're not able to work any longer? What are you going to do if you get a sick family member that you have to go out of town to visit for 6 months at a time when your company won't pay you or they may fire you? What are you going to do when your kids ask you about and qualify for because you're making a little bit too much money to get somebody to pay for it, but you don't make enough money to put them in that college? Ask yourself those questions. Is that 9-to-5 put you in that position? Are you able to put up an emergency fund and extra money? Are you able to go out of town and split minute? I mean, right now I'm in the field working. I've been in network marketing for 5.5 years. But I still get up every morning. When Carmen Rojas called me, I was in the field. I was visiting businesses to offer them what I offer for a living. But I can stop and get coffee when I choose. I can eat lunch when I want. And when she told me that I needed to be on this call to do this, to work with her, I was able to stop and do it. What if I had a 9-to-5? Would I have been able to do that? I was able to stop what I was doing and help out and help answer questions and maybe change somebody else's life at a split minute. And then when I finish, I can go back to what I was doing without worried about being fired and still be able to create the income that I woke up this morning in a position to create. And when I get up in the morning, there's always money in my account that I didn't make. And I know with a 9-to-5, you will never get a check in the mail for work that you didn't do. So those are things to think about when you're asking yourself, is multi-level marketing for you or business ownership? Is it for you? There's a book by Brian Carruth, My First 10 Million. And he just wrote another book. The book, How I Made My First 10 Million, it's like a day read. I mean, you can read it very quickly. But he just wrote another book called How to Build an Empire. And it's being labeled now as the top network marketing book in history. And the reason why it is because he's been in network marketing for 15 years. He's earned over $10 million. And he left a family-owned real estate business to start doing this. So he was making 6 figures. He was making $250,000 a year before he left to start network marketing. And he started from the ground floor. He didn't go and join a company and say, well, I'm going to pay some extra money and go to the top. He started at the bottom of the company and worked his way up to the top. And he's earned over $10 million. And he got a lot of ridicule from his family because they own 7 real estate companies across the U.S. And they're very successful. They have a lot of money. They live in mansions. And they have huge bank accounts. But he walked away from that because he didn't want the stress. His dad has had 2 heart attacks, and his brother has had 4 heart attacks, and has stents in his heart, and he's under 45 years old. Mm-hmm. And he didn't want that lifestyle, so he decided to join network marketing, and he's living stress free but he's earned over $10 million in 15 years doing network marketing. And you know, those books that he's written talks about why it's important to look at this opportunity. I know McDonald's owners who doesn't earn what he earns on a monthly basis. Brian Carruthers literally earns a little bit less than $200,000 on a 30-day basis. I know McDonald's owners who paid $2 million for a McDonald's who doesn't earn that kind of money, and he paid $249 during the legal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and you made a whole bunch of good points there, and I would fall painfully short if I tried to to comment on all of them. But I think, you know, the takeaway message there is, you know, just like in any business endeavor, you know, there are going to be things that work for you and things that don't. And for those that, you know, have the time and energy and, you know, want to do it, multi-level marketing is an option that people are finding useful. And there's one that I know in particular that has come out as a big advocate is Robert Kiyosaki, who's, you know, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and all of that, you know, who his wealth was not necessarily made in network marketing, but he has now become a large advocate for it. And one of his books, he even suggests if you are thinking about you know, starting a business, or, you know, you want to get better, you know, you recognize that you're not a good salesperson, that multi-level marketing is a great place to learn that. You know, one of the things that I would definitely recommend to somebody, you know, we always talk about that you don't have to go to college to get an education enough to do your business. Well, multi-level marketing, like, you think about it like this: I have an MBA. Let's not talk about how much it cost me, but let's just say I'm still paying for it, and I graduated more than 10 years ago. And I still have plenty of time left to pay for it. But at the same time, you know, a lot of the things that I've learned about sales and marketing, I could have gotten through, you know, the training that an MLM provides, and also through actual on-the-ground experience and mentorship that MLMs provide. So when you look at it that way, you could pay you know, you talk about it was less than $500 to join Legal Shield. You know, it cost me, let's just say, several, probably 100 times that to get the MBA that I have. So, you know, that's just another point for people to consider. Even if you're not looking at it as the place you want to be, use it as an education. Use it to learn how to sell. If you're shy, if you're an introvert, and trust me, an MLM will bring it out of you, and it will be a lot cheaper than, you know, and you'll pay yourself back, you know, the $500 that you put into it. You know, I'm grateful for the business I've gotten, but I don't think I've quite paid back my MBA, and like I said, it's been almost 10 years. So I just wanted to add that and throw it out there. A couple of other comments from the room. Mr. William Rock, great show. Thank you, William. William comes to us from outside of Kansas City, so I always have to give him a shout out whenever I see him on. And you know, there's a couple other comments that I wanted to bring up. My girl Christine again, speaking of Robert Kiyosaki, check out The Business of the 21st Century, that it's a great read. So again, for those of you that may be considering it, whether you've decided or not, give him a read as well. And I'll ask Robert after the show, if you send me the link to the Brian Carruthers, then we'll make sure that we add it to the comments, so anybody that wants to read that book can go back and read it. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the show here, and so I just wanted to kind of wrap things up and kind of ask the question. Robert, what do you think is the biggest reason why MLM works?
Well, I think that it works because it allows you to work at your own pace. It allows you to choose a company to offer something that you believe in and have anything interested in yourself. It allows you to get in at a much lower cost than owning a traditional business. And because you have the support, the marketing is already there, meaning that you already have a just say based on it's already been proven to be working. And the support, the free mentorship. I mean, I've been to a couple of John C. Maxwell events that cost a few $1,000s. Was it worth it? It was worth every penny. I'm a big John C. Maxwell fan. But I also have mentors course in legal laws. I could pick up the phone and call the gentleman that I just told, I just spoke to you about 10 years. Well, I can pick up the phone and call, take all to work a level of multi-level marketing company, but he's in the same company that I'm in. So I can get direct job. Those things allow you to be able to ease into it, or get your kind of put your toe in the water, as opposed to making a decision one day to get a bank loan for $50,000 and stop working your job in hopes that your small business takes off. You don't have to make that transition with network marketing. There are people in network marketing making 6 figures a year and still work a full-time job because they love what they do. So it gives you that flexibility and ability to write off things with the home office and get tax breaks and all those different things that you don't get when you have a traditional 9 to 5.
I would agree with you. I think, you know, again, it's a personal choice. It is an option that for some people, you know, and I would say, just as a tip to anybody, just, you know, and it's same for any business, but pick something that you really believe in. Don't do it to get a car. Don't do it, you know, for any other reason than you genuinely believe in that product. And that's the same thing for going into business as well. You know, I don't want to get into that whole thing, but there was an infographic that went around that talked about, you know, that you shouldn't jump into any business unless you're passionate about it. And if you're passionate, you aren't going to have an exit plan. That's one of the ways you can tell if you're I think it was Mark Cuban. It was one of his infographics. So just like, you know, again, this is one of those places where network marketing and traditional business are the same, is that you don't want to get into it unless you're passionate about it. So find out more about it. And I think that's one of the things that's true about network marketing, is in most of those, no matter which vertical it is, the best salespeople are also customers. Is that generally true?
Yes, in some instances. In Legal Shields, that's one of the ways that we stand apart from a lot of other network marketing companies, and companies like Mary Kay stand apart from other companies, is because most of our customers aren't actual associates, because we actually offer, and that's one of the things that you should look at. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, Carmen, because that's one of the ways that you find out what company to work with. Is most of the product being sold to new people coming in to join the company, or are they actually marketing something to the general public, tie-ins with opportunity to make money? They the Avon product or the Mary Kay product, or they like to have access to an attorney, or they want good, solid identity theft protection. So most of our customer base is not associates. It's coming from us marketing it out to other people, which means that I can actually make 6 figures in Legal Shield and not be a recruiter, not to be a person that brings people into the business. I can literally just market our service and earn 6 figures based on the residual income that I can make, plus the upfront advance commissions that I make when I offer the service. So that will vary with different companies. I know some of the other companies, most of their sales are based on them bringing somebody into the company, and that person being on that monthly, I call it garage qualified. I'm not being funny here, but that's just what we label it, garage qualified, because they're shipping something to you that you're supposed to either be using or selling. So that's what we call a garage qualified, but you're kind of locking yourself in as an associate with that company, as somebody that has to purchase that product or that service every month. And with Legal Shield, we do purchase our service every month, but we don't have to have it. I suggest a person, but you don't have to have it. It's not something that you have to do in order to be an associate. So it depends on what company that's marketing that you're working with, how that goes.
Great. Well, we've got just a little less than 10 minutes left, and I wanted to. I promised everybody that this was not necessarily a pitch for Legal Shield, but that we would use it as an example because it's what you're obviously most familiar with. But to kind of wrap it up with a small testimonial. I know personally for all the businesses that I've had, getting Legal Shield, and even in my there's business plans and there's personal plans, but I would definitely recommend to any entrepreneur out there that if you're getting ready to start a business, definitely having legal assistance in your, as a part of your team is a very, very important thing to do. You can make all kinds of mistakes that either cost you money, cost you reputation, all of that good stuff. And having an attorney to review your documents, to your lease agreement, your insurance, any contracts that you may get into, that's what Legal Shield can do, and it gives you peace of mind, and it's totally worth the small amount that it costs you every month, and it more than pays for itself. I can definitely testify to having gotten myself, and fortunately it was not a major jam, but getting a letter from an attorney, sent it to Legal Shield took care of it, never heard from the attorney again. Honest to God story. So I would definitely recommend to anybody that's considering starting a business to consider Legal Shield. It's definitely puts, talk about democratizing different things. This democratizes legal services. It makes it so that no matter how small of a business you are, you can have access to an attorney, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and that's a justice thing. That's the American way. It helps us all be on the same legal playing field, so to speak, when you have an attorney that you can access all the time. So that's my piece for Legal Shield. Robert, if you want to tell us how we can reach you, what's next, if you got any call to actions, what's next for Robert Dunbar? And Robert had having a little trouble. What, are you there now? Okay, hopefully we can catch him as he comes back into the room. But Robert is on Google+. Make sure that you guys circle him. Make sure that you add him to your into your circles and communicate with him. Even if, again, you are not considering an MLM, he is extremely well versed in so many different areas of business and strategy. Are you there, Robert?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so where can we find you outside of Google+?
You can go. My website is very easy. I made it very simplistic. My phone number and my email is the same. Of course, my phone number is 904-383-5942, and my website is actually www.904-383-5942.com. So you can get to my website very easily. I'm on Facebook under Robert Dunbar. Twitter too much, but I am on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn. I am on Google Plus.
Hey Robert, I don't mean to interrupt you there. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're having a hard time with the audio there.
Robert Dunbar Legal Shield.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, because I know that we're having a little bit of trouble with the feed today. I do apologize again, but we will make sure and put all of the contact information for Robert Dunbar in the comments, so that if you would like to get in touch with him, he is a fabulous person to even just bounce an idea off of. He'll let you know, and one thing that I value the most about Robert is he is 100% honest with you. He will tell you if your idea stinks or if it's got some possibility of working, and you can trust that he's accurate with his recommendations and comments. So we will make sure and put his information there. So to close out the show, I do appreciate everybody's attendance and watching the Camel Jacket Chat today. We are coming back next week. I believe we will be talking to, let's see, next week is the 28th. That is Charlotte Pierce with the New England Self-Publishing Group, and she will talk with us about, if you're thinking about writing a book, how do you know if you know enough to write a book? How do you go about the process? How do you select a publisher or any of that, and making those kind of decisions? So she is going to help us understand that from an entrepreneurial standpoint as to whether or not writing a book is for you, or how do you do it. So join us next week on the Camel Jacket Chat to hear from Miss Charlotte Pierce. I hope I'm accurate with that, but we will get the invitation up in the next day or so. So I appreciate everybody's time and patience with us today, and encourage you to join us on the next Camel Jacket Chat. Thank you very much. Thank you, Robert. We appreciate your time.
All right, you got it. Anytime, just give me a call if you need anything from me. Wonderful show.
Thank you.